I don't agree. I definitely do not agree that black boys are underachieving. I don't agree. What do I mean by that? The boys of single mothers cannot compete with the sons of fathers. That's what I mean. Read in between those lines and tell me what that means. The boys of single mothers cannot compete with the sons of fathers. Now, who does this statement mirror the most? You know, a race of black boys from 78% single mother households cannot compete with boys from two-parent households. White family, Indian family, Arab family, Latino family. Yeah, all these different communities put all their resources into their sons. Even immigrants from African families, they have patriarchies. Latino women call their sons Papi. African women call their sons King. While black women call their sons Lil Nigga. All these other communities put their sons in school. They get their sons technical training. They chip in to get their sons a commercial driver's license or a TLC. And if the family is foreign, they bought a trade over here from home. Even if that trade is baking pizzas. A son that has to finish high school and take over his dad's pizza or plumbing or electrician business is in a completely different situation from a black boy who does not have those same luxuries when growing up in a single mother household. How does a boy who grew up in a single mother household, one or two stepbrothers, and nothing but aunts and grandmothers around, and sisters, compete with a boy from a household with a father, two blood brothers, two grandfathers, 5-6 uncles, and 20-30 male cousins? He can't. Around men, man sharpens man like steel sharpens steel. The same way you need two pieces of steel to sharpen one another, you need two men to sharpen one another. You need a man to bring out and unlock that masculinity gene. See, around a house full of men, you're not penalized for being rough and loud and hard and different. In a single mother household, everything you do is magnified under the feminine looking glass. Be quiet, be kind, be soft, be sensitive. And any strong character traits will be perceived as bucking up, being disrespectful, which leads to misplaced chastisement, which confuses the boy because all he's doing is following his nature. And this leads to a timid boy, an insecure boy, an indecisive boy, because every male instinct he had, he was punished for. While in the two-parent household with the father present, he's not only allowed but encouraged to be tough, rough, outspoken, blunt, aggressive. So how does a little black boy from a single mother household with no father present compete with that? He can't. This is why we see a lot of brothers out here trying to learn how to be a man on their own, and they make the mistake sometimes and overcompensate because they don't have a mentor. And that mentor should be their dad if he's on the planet. So they thug out, a lot of them to avoid the feminization and sexual abuse that comes from not having your father around and a bunch of miscellaneous obscure men in and out of your household. But how does a black boy who lives with a single mother, 2-3 sisters that only talk about hair and nails and the boys that they fucked, compete with the boy from an Asian, white, Arab, Indian family full of firemen, cops, carpenters, welders, plumbers, and mechanics? How? The boys that live around the cops, the firemen, the welders, and the mechanics, they grow an infinity towards these professions, know the ins and outs. A boy that's sitting around his sisters talking about, I fuck Gary. Oh, I fuck Wayne. A lot of cops, firemen, plumbers, mechanics, welders, and electricians are second, third, and fourth generation. There's a legacy of it to where the black boy would be the first. So his peers at the job are more skilled than he is. When he goes to work and he's amongst white, Indian, Latino electricians and plumbers, he's maybe 10, 20 years behind his peers. That's why black men gotta be twice as good at their job. So these little boys are targets at home, they're targets abroad, in the street, at school, at work. A lot of you need to understand, a boy needs to hear specifically from his father that he is a man. That is a true rite of passage. There is no substitute to a man telling his son that he is now a man. And stepdads included. If you're in a situation and you're a stepdad, you have that power, depending on your relationship with that little boy. But a boy needs to hear specifically from his father that he's a man, or he'll always question his manhood to a certain extent. Boys seek validation from their fathers, no matter how the mother may feel about him. And the fact you sisters don't understand that ruins him. So, no, I disagree. Black boys are not underachieving. They're underserved. Protect black boys, and you protect the nation. Hands off our sons. Adolf. And to my 18-year-old, I love you. My son in college right now, getting that electrical engineering degree. Understand? I did the streets so he ain't have to. Shit is real out here, man.
Can America safely ignore the educational needs of boys just because they're protected by the patriarchy? Well, MSNBC seems to think so.
It seems that men are doing just fine. Well, our next guest has a response for that, too.
Coming up, we'll explain why the underachievement of American boys is a ticking time bomb. When I appeared on the MSNBC show, The Cycle, to discuss the plight of boys in school, the hosts were having none of it.
All right, I see some of what you're saying, but I don't think the patriarchy, sadly, is actually under threat.
And of course, it would be the supposed black man that says that, right?
The MSNBC skeptics are hardly alone in dismissing the plight of boys and young men. Just recently, Vox, this new website started by the former New York Times statistics guru Ezra Klein, it told its readers, well, boys have always done worse than girls in school. There's nothing new to worry about here. Well, it failed to explain why it is that male deficits in education are far more serious today than they were in the past. I mean, as recently as 30 years ago, a mediocre male student could get his high school diploma, find a job, work hard, make it into the middle class. Those days are gone forever. Education beyond high school is the new ticket to the American dream. Today, women earn 62% of associate's degrees, 57% of BAs, 60% of masters, and 52% of doctorates. Well, what's in store for a minimally educated young man? The wages of men with only a high school diploma have declined 47% since 1969. Now, the British, the Canadians, the Australians, they're struggling with a boy gap, and they are trying desperately to address it because they view the widespread underachievement of males as a threat to their national economy. Why is this happening to boys? What explains the college gap? Well, one of the best sources for insight about students is the University of Michigan Monitoring the Future survey. Since 1975, the Michigan researchers have been studying large national samples of students. Now, they found that in the 1970s and 80s, nearly the same number of top male and female students had very high aspirations. They planned to be pursuing postgraduate degrees in fields like law, medicine, science, college teaching. It was about 14% of boys and girls. Well, by the 2000s, 27% of girls expressed that ambition, compared to only 16% of boys. Now, why isn't there a national effort to address this ambition gap? Congress passed legislation characterizing girls as an underserved population. There were hundreds of millions of dollars made available to improve girls' self-esteem, their math and science achievement. Well, where are the efforts for boys? Now, Arne Duncan, the U.S. Secretary of Education, has yet to comment on male underachievement. But he's not idle on the gender gap front. He made a cameo appearance along with Beyoncé in Sheryl Sandberg's Girl Power Band Bossy video, where he encouraged girls to be ambitious.
We need to tell them it's okay to be ambitious.
The factual feminist is disappointed. MSNBC and the women's groups, they're known to be polemical, but the well-being of boys is too important for television antics and gender war hijinks. As for Secretary Duncan, his apparent indifference to the boy gap is alarming. His department is the federal agency responsible for the educational well-being of the nation's children, girls and boys. Well, what do we need to do to get American boys interested in education? Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the video. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching The Factual Feminist.
And black mothers, if at all, promote college. Fathers promote trades. Adolf.